can be removed. You can get out of it. And although it may be a little violent, it would still be a graceful escape.
What kind of box are we in your opinion? What's happened to America, the land of the free, the home of the brave? What's happened here? Ghost?
Well, it started way back in 1871. The 34th Congress passed a bill which made a separate form of government for Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. became a full-fledged economic corporation, which is fine. You know, I don't give a shit that our government is an economic corporation. But what I do care about is that was when the beginning of the U.S. Code started. The U.S. Code is anathema to the Republic's Constitution, whereas in the Republic's Constitution we had inalienable rights. Under the form of government in Washington, D.C., we have congressional privileges called civil rights. We've always had civil liberties. Those are inalienable rights. But civil rights are privileges granted by Congress. What happened is we lost our republic in 1871.
Well, I've always told people that our founding fathers fought the New World Order of their day. The sun never sets on the English Empire. And the city that you're talking about, Washington, D.C., the system that you're talking about, that's actually an old system. There ain't no such thing as the New World Order, as I tell you in one of my videos. What's happened is we are ruled by 3 of these city-states, these autonomous city-states. Washington, D.C. is just one. There's 2 more. One is the Vatican, and the other is the City of London. And
that's a fact.
I beg your pardon?
That's a fact.
Yes, sir.
The government in D.C. is Roman civil law.
And it's controlled, manipulated out of by the Vatican. I mean, for 2,000 years, the Vatican, the Catholic Church, has been pretty responsible for. They didn't want you to read the Bible for about 700 years. Just listen to your priest. Your priest will tell you what to think.
Yes, it's okay to lie. It's okay to cheat. It's okay to steal, as long as you do it for a good purpose.
Yeah. It's okay to kill, 70% of the world's population, so we can reduce the population to a manageable, 500 million.
500 million.
That would be. I guess that would be 499 million slaves, peons, and 1 million elitists.
Yep.
Yeah, Planet was on the chat room. Folks, they've written this in stone. It's written in stone, just like the 10 Commandments. This is the elitist, the whole globalist, and I'm not even sure I like to call it a Luciferian plot, because I'm starting to decide, John, that we have been so deceived for so long that maybe the God of Abraham wasn't actually the good guy.
Well, if you care to do a very popular thing today is called a poll. What you do is you run a poll on the Bible. See who has killed the most people, and you will find that the God the Old Testament has killed millions, while Satan of the Old Testament only killed 2. Gee, what's the difference?
You know, somebody was talking about the Muslim trying to demonize the Muslims, and originally the Muslims, 700 A.D., the Muslims and the Christians had the same ideals. They said the same God. They both believed in one God. But what if that God that they believed in wasn't the good God? What if that was Satan pretending to be God? What if that was the devil pretending to be God? You know, I mean, I'm really looking at this as we've been lied to for so long. I mean, you know, if you can believe, maybe if you can believe the way the church wants you to believe, the way the Judeo-Christians, which is basically the same thing as saying, I'm a satanic Christian, thank you. If you can believe all of that crap, and you can believe that we had to kill those Palestinians to protect ourselves in Israel, then you probably won't have any trouble buying into the whole idea that we finally killed bin Laden for the 5th time, 6th time, 9th time.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't kill him during George Bush's reign when he went into an army hospital in Egypt to go on a dialysis machine, and the CIA came in and replaced his regular nurses with CIA nurses. I'm surprised they, you know, during Bush's administration, like 2005, 2006, that they didn't kill him right then, since they wanted him so bad.
Wait a minute, Ghost. What? How do you know they didn't? How do we know they didn't then?
We don't know they didn't. But I can tell you what we do know. I can tell you what we do know. What we do know is, you know, even though Osama bin Laden is dead, now, doesn't that mean that, okay, now that he's dead, we should be safer? Does that mean that they're going to abolish the Patriot Act and restore habeas corpus?
Oh, no, don't you understand? We're in more danger now than we were when he was alive. Now he's a martyr. Now we've made him a martyr. Now we put him in the ocean, we put him in a box and buried him at seal, you know. And we, but you know, I'm sorry that our crack team of SEALs that went in to invade this thing happened to run the helicopter into the wall, you know, but they're still a crack team, and you know, pretty soon maybe we'll release, you know, the pictures on their helmet cams. Maybe they'll release that so we can see who they actually shot. But somehow, I doubt that. I doubt that any more than you're going to actually see a real copy of Obama's birth certificate.
Yeah, well, you know, right after 9/11, there was a private jet that took Osama and his family out of New York. Right after. And that was, you know, nothing happens without the permission of the government. Nothing. Everything that occurs, the government knows about.
Yes.
So, you know, this Osama being killed by Obama's crap military team is utter bullshit. It really is.
Well, it set a nice precedent. The world now knows that the U.S. will send their crack troops into a sovereign country without permission, won't they?
Oh, yes.
That sends a message. Oh, and we've already, let's see, we killed Saddam Hussein. We killed Saddam Hussein's son. Now we've already killed Gaddafi's sons, and we've invaded and killed a wealthy citizen of Pakistan.
Yeah, it's nuts. And people won't wake up. They won't. It's like, holy shit, I can still vote. I can still drive to Colorado. Hell, I'm still free.
I can go to the bar and get a beer. What do you mean I'm a slave?
They've never been free. You and I were born into slavery. Really.
That's
Ever
right.
since when we gave up our gold to the Federal Reserve in 1913,
for $16 an ounce, and now it's $1,500 an ounce. Who's got all the gold? Why is the price going up on gold so much? Because the ones who own the gold make the rules. The ones that have the gold, and folks, you don't have any gold in Fort Knox. You think you do? You think this United States is a wealthy country? Guess what? They stole all the gold at 9/11, and they stole it from Fort Knox long before that.
Oh, that's fact. That gold has been out of Fort Knox for probably 50 years, and all they did was put on a show. They probably kept one bar in there just for the show.
And that bar was probably titanium, not with a gold coating.
Oh hell, you can hand most people a brass bar and say it's gold, and they'll give you $1,400 for it, not knowing the difference. Really.
Now, Ghost, I told people that we would talk about gang stalking. And the reason I want to talk about that is that I think I have been a victim of gang stalking. I've been a biker my whole life. I've been riding a Harley for 40 years. I've started clubs. My clubs that I was in 40 years ago became the biggest clubs in the country. But we don't call them clubs. The government calls them gangs. I don't think they're the gang. I don't think they're the gang. Most all the bikers that I know, whether they're Hells Angels or Banditos, have been really good, patriotic Americans that love the children. And we've been demonized for that. Why were we demonized? Because we were a threat, because we were free. And they recently, though, since my book Mystery Babylon came out, if I walk into a biker bar now, somebody wants to pick a fight with me. We don't want you in here. You're a cop caller. You're sending money to a snitch. You're selling that book to send money to a snitch named Huevos. Sorry, never happened. Don't know him. But where would that come from? I mean, nobody's come up and talked to me here. Nobody's done anything like that. Nobody's asked me any questions. And then suddenly, word's out on me. Word's out on Clay Douglas. Oh, he's selling that book to send money to a snitch whose name he doesn't know, who he's never met, who he's never seen. Is this gang stalking? Is this what they are doing? And the same thing, happened to Jerry Kane. Now I've got that story up on my website. I just put that out all over the country to all of my email. You probably got one about Jerry Kane, who was killed by police. He and his teenage son were shot more times on a Walmart parking lot, had more bullets in his car than Bonnie and Clyde's car, had his head blown off so you couldn't even identify him in an autopsy photo, and well, they shot a cop. So we had to respond. I'm sorry, nothing matches. So what happened there? What happened to me? What happened to Jerry Kane? What happened to Gordon Call? What happened to Bill Cooper? all of these people I've known, and I've interviewed Gordon Call's wife. Gordon didn't do nothing wrong, and they burned him to death in Arkansas. And they killed Jerry Kane in Arkansas. So what's going on there? Is that gang stalking? Is this government harassment? Or are we seeing communism in action, where they want to take you, they want to put you into mental homes like they did Mark Taylor? They picked up a kid, Mark Taylor, who was trying to fight and stand up against the drug companies, and put him in a hospital and held him for a year and drugged him too. What's happening there? Is this what we're talking about?
I can tell you exactly what gang stalking is. Gang stalking was invented in 1969, Fort Gordon, Georgia, Signals Intelligence Base, Army. It was invented by scientists that were brought over from Nazi Germany under Project Paperclip.
That's right.
Gang stalking is the modern day Stasi from East Germany.
And by the way, folks, I have studied all of that. Heinrich Müller, I'm holding up a book right now called The Gestapo Chief by Heinrich Müller. And he was brought over and made a general in the United States Army, head of the SS in Nazi Germany. Heinrich Müller, and this book was written by Gregory Douglas, no relation. And in this book, Müller covers the last days in Berlin, Soviet intelligence agents in Germany, England, the United States during the war, the forgery of the Casement Diaries, assassination of French Admiral Darlan, Polish Chief of State Sikorsky by the Allies, the assassination attempt against Hitler in 1944. At any rate, these are your gang stalkers, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They use a program that was originated through MK Ultra, which MK stands for mind control. The program was it was bigger than the tax code. It was a 35,000-page exercise where they used mind control. They got people to do things that seemed benign, but it's really harassing someone else. And it is run through the CIA and the FBI, who were both involved in the MK Ultra programs of the late 50s to the early 70s, of which I was part of. I was in the Army. I was volunteered to be in MK Delta, which was the enforcement group, the critique group. So what happened was they came up with a plan. They would take a fake file with your picture. They would show it around to people and would say, he's being watched by the government, he's a domestic terrorist, or he's homosexual, which is their new thing for you, play. And they're accusing me of being a homosexual? That is correct.
Where'd that come from? I hadn't heard that.
It started in the last few days. They are accusing anyone who rides a Harley Davidson of being a faggot. They are accusing anyone who belongs to a motorcycle club of being a faggot. That is what they are pushing right now.
Well, I know a lot of Vietnam vets, Hells Angels, and Banditos that might take a little exception to that. Who's doing the accusing? Uncle wants to know who's doing the accusing. Where is this coming from? I hadn't heard. This is something new to me. I haven't heard about this ghost.
It's coming out of the American intelligence agencies, CIA, FBI.
Now I've made the statement. I've made the statement, and feel free to correct me if I get anything wrong here. There's no difference between the Stasi, the KGB, the Mossad, MI6, CIA, and FBI. These are all intelligence operations working for a central global government of the banksters, by the banksters, and for the banksters. And that means, and the war on terror is a war against anyone, anywhere in the world that has opposed or won't accept global government and global banking.
That is correct. Anyone. You are currently a member of a 65, at least 65 million people club called Targeted Individuals.
Now, I know that I am on a government watch list because a friend of mine tried to send me money. $700 by Western Union. I went to pick it up. They said it's not here. I called her up. She said, Clay, I got the receipt right here. I said, well, you better find out. They say we don't have it. They asked her, do you know Clay Douglas? She said, yeah, for 40 years. Why? Oh, he's on a government watch list. Now, my friend, I had him on the show. And by the way, this is why your name is not up on my site. Because the last time I put your name up on my site, you got targeted. You couldn't come on my show. And my friend in back east, he was scheduled to be on my show, and the FBI showed up. FBI and Homeland Security showed up at his house on his porch, knocked on his door, wanting to know why he was going to be on Clay Douglas's show.
Well, I'll tell you what, they've made me homeless. I will not have a home in just a few days. No fault of my own. Just all of a sudden, my apartment has been condemned.
Condemned?
My apartment. Not my neighbor's. Mine.
That's interesting.
And you know something? I don't care. I would rather die free than live a slave. That's fact. I'm 59. I've done everything I've ever wanted to do in my life. I've accomplished everything I've ever set out to do. Everything. And I don't mind being homeless. I really don't. I can still eat. I won't eat GMO, though. But my apartment was condemned. I was told that I had to kill those plants in my window because it's illegal to water a garden here.
What? This is and now we'll generalize. I won't target. I know exactly where you are, but this is happening in New Mexico. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And they came into my place in New Mexico when I had the north half of Bingham, New Mexico. They came in and wanted to put, they tried to zone my place. I said, what are you trying to do? Get somebody killed? You're going to come out here and tell me and the ranchers here how to run our property, what to do on our own property? That got killed. They wanted to put a meter on my well. Now, what is this about your plants? You can't even have plants in your house. What's going on?
Oh, I can have a flower, but I can't have bell peppers, tomatoes, onions, beets, squash, cucumber.
Well, they're trying to. I swear, I used to think they tried to kill me. Ghost, because I exposed building number 7. I exposed the whole 9/11 as an exaggerated case of Jewish lightning. I thought they tried to kill me over that. I don't think that anymore. I think they tried to kill me because I was advertising and promoting Liberty Village, the whole concept of being self-sufficient, powering your running your ranch and your homes on wind and solar that God gave us, and growing our own food. And suddenly we got S510. Suddenly we got the animal identification system. Yeah, you need to chip those chickens. So and be sure and if they cross the road, be sure and report it to the government. And is that what they have actually instituted in New Mexico since I've been gone?
Yes, they have. Yes, they have.
They don't want you being able to feed yourself. And number 9 on the Communist Manifesto is corporate farms.
And we got quite a few of those in New Mexico. They're all around Albuquerque. They've got probably right just south of Albuquerque. There's a corporate farm. They have about 150 head of cows, and that 150 head of cows is sitting on a lot that is no more than 500 feet square. There is no grass. It is all dirt. They're fed grain. They're fed soy. And, man, they look bad. There ain't no way I'd drink milk or eat meat that comes off of that lot. Even back in George Bush's time, when the mad cow disease BS was circulating, there was a slaughterhouse in Iowa that put a lab next to their slaughterhouse and was going to put on their labels, guaranteed no mad cow. George W. Bush shut them down. You will either take out the lab or we'll shut down your business.
They're trying to make it illegal right now for anybody to investigate these food-producing co-ops or these food-producing corporations. They're trying to make it illegal for you to ask questions about it, to film in their shops. I mean, come on. If you're eating at Kentucky Fried Chicken, do you know how those birds have been tortured? What does it when you're torturing an animal? When you're feeding an animal genetically modified crap that the rats won't eat, what does that do to the quality of the food? Now my sons grew up eating range-fed beef from New Mexico, from my friend's ranch. They're very healthy. My grandchildren are very healthy.
Yep. Well, I think they were trying to pass a law in Florida that if you take a picture of a corporate farm, it's a felony.
Yes.
I don't know if that ever passed or not, but that was the idea. They tried to pass the same one in New Mexico. They tried to pass the same one in Texas. So what they're trying to do is micromanage your life.
And also, let's see, if you can't sue a pharmaceutical company for killing you with their antipsychotics, with their antidepressants, and 50, according to Dr. Mercola, 50,000 Americans a year die from antidepressants.
Yeah.
And let's see, how many people die from smoking marijuana? Oh, that's never happened. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, never. But,
more people die of aspirin. I mean, by God, 50 people a year die from taking friggin' aspirin.
You know, the thing is, this government has no right, actually no government has any right to tell you what you can or cannot put into your body. It's yours.
No corpus.
What is so bizarre is New Mexico has a law that says if you want to die, go ahead. You can do it any way you want. Yet, they turn around and say, but you have to take these drugs. You have to give Ritalin to your kids. You have to take this vaccine. I was having a little difficulty. I was collecting food stamps, and some pompous prick comes along and tells me that unless I take a vaccine or a flu shot, that I can't have food stamps. So I said no, and they cut me off.
All right, hold on just a second. Just a second. We're talking with the Ghost Rider. I mean, the Ghost, and we'll be right back here.